Hello, and welcome to your first job in your field, part of the Fall 2023 Career Academy series. In this session, we will be sharing advice and examples on how to successfully navigate your first full-time job in your industry. I'm Samantha Karpoloff, Associate Director on the Career Team and based out of the Westchester campus. And I'm delighted to share the stage with Mallory Escobar-Gonzalez, class of 2022 and former public accounting major. Mallory is currently an assurance associate at PwC, and during her first year with the firm, she specialized in sports and retail audit engagements. Her current goal is to obtain her CPA license starting with the Business Environment Concepts exam. Mallory will be joining us a little bit later to talk about her experience with some of today's topics. Wherever and whenever you're watching this, thanks for tuning in today. Before diving in, I wanted to share some reminders about Career Academy. Every semester, we bring you the signature series of workshops designed to help you stay on track in preparing for or during your career. You can find all of this fall's workshops in the events section of our website under Career Academy. If you participate in at least 4 out of our 6 sessions, you'll earn a digital badge that looks great on your LinkedIn profile. You'll also be entered into a raffle for our grand prize of a new iPad. Make sure your attendance for this session is counted. Watch this video to the end for details. So, we have a tall order for our agenda today. There's so much to know when starting your first job in your field. The transition to a new job takes approximately 3 months. At that point, you will have a solid understanding of your role and be able to do it mostly independently, have met the key players at your organization, have a good handle on the company's culture, and have established a baseline reputation and professional brand. I realize that each of these topics could be its own workshop, so know that we'll just be scratching the surface. Linked in some of these slides are websites with more information. Go to them for a deeper dive. But first, congratulations are in order. Our team knows that landing that first full-time position in your field is a huge deal. Let the accomplishment and all you've done to work towards it sink in. Your journey through your career will be an ongoing learning experience. Get ready to hone your skills, meet lots of new people, identify what you like and dislike, and much more. The info you gather in this first job will help you plan your next career move. And I just want to take a second to acknowledge that your first job in your field may not be immediately post-graduation. That's quite okay. Everyone's journey is unique, and circumstances don't always allow for you to land a role in your desired field immediately after completing your degree. No matter where you're starting from, just know this is a day to celebrate. Now, onto our first topic, learning your job in the organization you work for. Day 1 on the job is dedicated to what are known as onboarding activities. These include an introduction to your organization, meeting team members, getting set up with equipment and your workspace, and training on your specific projects and tasks. The HR team will provide you a copy of the company handbook, which outlines your organization's policies and procedures. While this handbook is dense, reading it and signing an acknowledgement that you have done so is important. Whether or not someone walks you through all the policies in this handbook, you will be held accountable to any written policies, and it's in your best interest to go through them all early and stay familiar with them. And speaking of a handbook, this is one of the initial ways you'll learn more about your organization. You'll read about the company's history and mission statement. As you meet people from other departments, you'll learn what they do and how teams work together to fit into the bigger picture of your organization's goals. Regarding training on your job-specific tasks, this takes several days. While you won't learn everything on day 1, by the end of your first week, you should have a firm grasp on the work you're expected to complete and the tools you use to do it, and people you'll work with as well. 3 weeks in, you should be taking on more responsibility with less support and supervision. Your tasks will be more routine, and completing projects will come more easily. The people you work with will start to be more familiar with you. At this point, you will be working more independently and collaborating with teammates instead of leaning on them to show you the ropes. You'll know your company's mission and goals pretty well from continuing to read policies, interviewing teammates to ask what they do, and reading news and updates on changes happening across the organization. Also at this time, you'll have a better understanding of the company culture. This is the attitudes and behaviors that make up a workplace. Be taking mental notes of things related to getting work done, like how fast your manager expects you to turn around projects, and how structured or informal processes are. Also pay attention to things related to lifestyle, like the typical hours employees work, and how long a lunch break is. It's so crucial to note these blatant but often unspoken rules at your company and consider if they align with your style and values. Culture is a factor determining if an employer feels like they belong. By the 3-month mark, you should know your job inside and out. You'll be working independently and taking initiative to solve problems. People will come to you with requests and questions that you'll be more confident in responding to. You'll know your teammates very well, and likely many more people from other departments. Your company's goals and the connection you and your work have to them will be more clear. You will have a strong sense of what's considered normal here. This is the point where you are a valued team member and start thinking about next steps. One of the other things you'll be doing as you settle into your role is establishing your reputation and brand. Just like in an interview, you want to make a good impression on the people you work with. This includes your immediate manager and teammates, people in other teams or departments, upper management, the CEO, anyone you meet. But making a good impression doesn't need to be complicated or overwhelming. It can and should be very genuine. Be pleasant when interacting with people and be responsible when completing your work. Gaining the trust and respect of the people you work with goes a long way in making your responsibilities easier to manage on a daily basis, and it can help you achieve your professional goals too. There is a lot of advice out there on how to establish your reputation at work, and you should think for yourself what you want your reputation to be. We'll share now 4 things you should think about when building your reputation at work. Starting with demonstrating follow-through. This is the idea of having integrity. It is crucial to building trust with people you work with. You want to be known as someone who gets something done when they say they will. And when you can't, communicating that in advance and clearly will be respected. Some examples of follow-through are completing tasks you say you'll complete, communicating when you can't meet a deadline, responding to emails in a timely manner, and acknowledging requests and assignments from your manager, following up with colleagues or clients where appropriate, and updating people on statuses of projects. Actions like these show that you care and want to do well. They demonstrate that you are reliable and considerate of others. All these traits are desirable at any company. Your manager and teammates will come to know you as someone they can count on. Now on to helping others. This sounds so basic, but it's a fundamental way to gain trust. Sometimes there isn't much to do in the early days on the job because you're gradually building up to your responsibilities. Consult your supervisor first, but one thing you might be able to do is offer to help others. You'll be seen as a team player, and this can open the door for future promotions and getting involved in projects you're interested in. But be aware of your own workload and don't take on more than you can handle. Naturally, the first 3 or so weeks in your first job, you'll be listening and learning. As you get closer to that 3-month mark we talked about earlier, you'll find yourself contributing your knowledge and skills more and more. This is adding value, the 3rd reputation building tip we're addressing here. Work on honing your strengths and capitalizing on your specific responsibilities. Learn more about how to do your job the best you can. Your eventual goal is to be seen as the expert on your various responsibilities. Make yourself the go-to person when people have questions about your area. Go above and beyond where possible. You want to make yourself into a valued team member who has something unique to contribute. And lastly, asking for feedback and help. We'll go into this more when we talk about working with your manager. Some basic things to know for now. We all need information in order to improve the work we do and ourselves. If you seek out this intel, you'll be on the fast track to developing yourself. It's good to be known as someone who seeks out feedback. That person is humble and puts the team or objective at hand before themselves. And then, implement the feedback you receive. Your manager will see that they can count on you and that you want to learn. Regarding asking for help, there's absolutely no shame in doing this when you need. Don't suffer alone. Many people try to problem solve all by themselves, for a lot of the reasons that range from trying to prove themselves to cultural norms. While employers want someone who can solve problems, and you should make every effort to seek out a solution to the extent that you can, everyone needs help sometimes. Managers can't support their staff if they don't know how they need support. Recognizing when you are out of your league and identifying this to your manager is a strength. Employers also value it. We hope you find these tips helpful and understand their importance. The most important takeaways here are that your reputation and brand follow you throughout your career and determine opportunities you can get in the future. So, take care of crafting a strong reputation for yourself.
Turning our attention to professionalism and authenticity, I would like to share a memorable insight I gained during my training in Nashville. One of the panelists introduced a thought-provoking concept that has since become deeply ingrained in my approach. Embrace your authentic self, but not necessarily your unfiltered self. This highlights the importance of tailoring your conduct to the context of your professional environment. While it encourages embracing your true identity, it also emphasizes the need for discernment, considering the boundaries and norms of the workplace. An instance where I effectively balanced professionalism and authenticity comes to mind from one of my engagements. I came across a mistake I had made in a prior work paper. Initially, this upset my stomach with unease, as I was nervous to address it with the team. After a brief period of contemplating, I concluded that it was important to address the mistake openly with my teammates. My rationale was clear: to ensure the ongoing process of engagement and to responsibly seek help. The response from my engagement team was not only reassuring, but enlightening. Rather than placing blame, they offered a broader perspective, remarking, "We're not saving lives." This simple yet profound shift in perspective changed my view on such situations. It empowered me to improve my performance, practice transparent communication, and consistently receive positive feedback from the team. This became distinctive in my contributions, leading to many teams welcome me back to their engagement the following year. When considering your professional conduct, ask yourself these questions. Are you genuinely engaged in your work? Do you promptly answer emails? Are you turning on your camera during meetings? Are you vocal about your opinions, and are you receptive to giving and receiving constructive feedback? These are only some of the questions that you should be asking yourself. Being able to act in a professional and authentic way is key to a thriving career. By strategically aligning your authentic self with your work environment, you create a sense of transparency while displaying commitment to responsibilities. This delicate balance highlights your value within a team, going beyond the immediate moment. At the end of the day, embracing your authentic and filtered self emphasizes the balance between individuality and fitting into the company culture. It encourages maintaining your identity, but recognizing the importance of adapting to the professional environment.
Mallory just gave us such a quality example of professionalism and authenticity. Admitting a mistake to your supervisor before someone else tells them is something everyone should do regardless of their job. This is absolutely professional. And it's so nice to hear that her doing this wasn't met with backlash from her manager, but welcomed and appreciated. We hope your workplace creates that type of atmosphere of psychological safety, where employees feel comfortable with and are rewarded when raising concerns and contributing their ideas. I also wanted to address what Mallory mentioned as being authentic, being who you are, but keeping in mind that you're at work. Authenticity doesn't mean dialing yourself to 100%. In your workplace, you're speaking and acting through a professional filter, and you're doing this to ensure that you can protect yourself. This helps minimize negative feedback towards you and helps build that strong professional reputation we talked about earlier. If you have questions about authenticity and being yourself at work, reach out to our team so our career coach can shed some light. Now, let's get into the relationships you'll have at work. Having a strong relationship with your manager will be key to your success. On your first day, you should have an initial meeting with your manager. Every organization is different, but generally, you'll want to come prepared to talk about the work you'll do and how both of you will work together. In case your manager doesn't bring it up, be ready to remind them how you work best. For example, I thrive when I can learn hands-on. And ask questions about norms, such as, how do you prefer I communicate with you? Over time, your relationship with your manager will evolve. The keys to building trust with them are to show you're reliable and communicate honestly and clearly. When it comes to asking questions, know that you're likely going to have a lot of these the first several weeks. It's important to make an effort to investigate and answer yourself before deciding to seek your manager's help. After all, that's why you were hired. But don't let fear stop you from asking questions. Be confident. Go to your manager ready to share the situation, what you've done, and what you need from them. And always thank them too. As I talked about before, part of being an employee is receiving feedback on your performance on the job. This is usually done through an annual performance review and at ad hoc times throughout the year. These conversations are not always easy. What can help make taking feedback go smoothly is listening, showing gratitude, and being humble. And ask for clarification when needed. A natural reaction is to get defensive, so don't be surprised if you feel that way. Just remember, a good manager's motivation in sharing feedback with you is because they care and want to help you improve. If you aren't approached by your manager with feedback, you should ask for it. Ask for a meeting or bring it up during a regular meeting with them. You can literally say, I was wondering what you thought of how I handled that. Or, how am I doing with X and Y? Is there anything I should change or do differently? Let them know you value their input and want to be an asset to the team. You should also let them know that you welcome feedback on your performance in general, too, so they know to share this with you in the future. And finally, goals. Your manager should have an idea of your short and long-term goals from your interview. As you settle into and learn your job, though, pay attention to the things you want to learn in the immediate term or near future. Is there a new software that you want to become an expert in? What about special projects you want to eventually take on? Once you've identified these goals, let your manager know. They can point you to resources for professional development and may be able to set up opportunities for you to shadow team members as well. In addition to your supervisor and immediate coworkers, you'll eventually want to seek out other people at your organization or in your field to be part of your professional network. These people can be mentors or sponsors, someone who gets to know you and can help you achieve your next role. A mentor guides you and serves more as a person to go to for career advice. A sponsor is typically a more senior person who advocates for your next career move at a company. These are just two types of relationships, but really anyone you network with and get to know has the potential to be a key player in your success. We're spending some time on this topic to emphasize how important your network is to future iterations of your career. These are the people who can help make things happen for you, so get to know people early and often in your professional workplaces. Mallory has a wonderful story to share about how she grew and utilized her network to get her where she is today at PwC.
When building a relationship, there are many factors to consider when choosing who you would like to be your mentor. First, you have to consider your availability, your end goal. What do you plan to achieve being in this mentorship? Reaching out within your network, and finding a person who is looking out for the best in you. In my case, my mentor is not someone within PwC. Previously, I was employed as a co-op at Con Edison for about 2 years. During this time, I made it my goal to get closer to my team and express to them my goals for after college. I built this relationship by holding weekly meetings every Friday to block off time within their schedules to catch up. During these calls, we spoke about subjects outside of the work like hobbies, interests, weekend plans, and aspirations. Gradually, over time, I became close to my manager and expressed to him that I would like to work in the accounting sector, as that was my major at Mercy College. Because I built that relationship with my manager with our weekly team meetings, turning in work promptly, doing more than assigned tasks, and taking initiative over 2 projects, it made him have trust in me. He reciprocated my efforts at work by going out of his way to help me. He's the reason I applied to the fellowship at PwC and took the leap of faith to pursue an opportunity which initially had me nervous. He helped me in updating my resume, holding weekly mock interviews, reviewing my personal essay for the fellowship, and writing a recommendation letter for me for all applied opportunities. I will never forget when I asked him to be one of my recommendation contacts, and he replied, "You don't ever need to ask, just put me down." I would not be where I am today without the help of my mentor for believing in me and knowing that I would be able to achieve what I desire from all these years working together. I wholeheartedly recommend going out and building relationships with those around you, as there are people who want to help you achieve your goals. You just need to take the first step.
So, as we bring this presentation to a close, let's go over what you start to do at and after that 3-month mark we talked about at the beginning. This is around the time you'll be owning your role, in a comfortable groove with your responsibilities, and be ready to think about what's next. Ask yourself questions like, what skills do I want to gain or enhance? What skill gaps are on my team that I could fill? If a promotion is in my future, what do I need to learn and do to move up? When setting goals, take time to reflect on how much you enjoy doing the things you do. Ask yourself what your strengths are and what kind of projects or work you want to be doing more of. Then, see what opportunities for professional development your company offers. Maybe there's a free subscription to LinkedIn Learning, or regular webinars on hot topics in your field. Do you not have access to this stuff through your company? Try online free course websites like Coursera, or attend events from the career team. Don't forget you can attend our events for life, even as an alum. You'll also want to pay attention to what other people on your team and adjacent teams do. You could be in a marketing role that has a lot of crossover with sales, and discover that talking with clients on sales calls is really where your passion lies. Or maybe you're a nurse, and through observing more experienced nurses in your unit, you get the sense of more advanced responsibilities you'd have with patients one day. Find out what other people do and what skills are needed for those jobs. When we talked at the beginning about learning your job and organization, we talked about company culture and the attitudes and behaviors that make up a workplace. As mentioned, pay attention to what's normal at work, on your team, and at the company in general. Ask yourself how these norms do or don't align with your own values and will help you determine if this is a place you want to stay. It could also be the case that another team managed by a different person is more ideal. You can find out by talking to colleagues about what their experience is like. And with that in mind, what is next? Is it a promotion? A lateral move? Going to a new organization? A change in industries? Whatever you're considering, we have advice on that. Check out our other Fall 2023 Career Academy sessions at career.mercy.edu. And know that it's absolutely okay to not know what your next move is. Work on building your skills regardless of whether you have a solidified goal or not, so you can be all the more prepared when an opportunity comes around. That's a wrap on this session. Thanks again for tuning in. And now to count your attendance. Scan the QR code on this slide or copy down the link to complete our short quiz. I hope you ace it, but your score won't affect your attendance. You just need to submit the quiz so your name gets on the attendance list for this session. Have questions and want to make this discussion live? Schedule a meeting with your career coach. Email us at cpd@mercy.edu or find your coach's handshake link on our website. And do me a favor and give us a follow on Instagram. We're pushing out fun, educational content all the time, so don't miss a thing. Best of luck with navigating your first job, and have a good rest of the day.